Hello everybody and welcome back to my album ranking series, I guess you could call it now, because there's 3 of them. In this video, we're going to do one that I wanted to do for a while, which is Led Zeppelin. Another one of those bands that when I was, let's put it this way, when I was a kid to now, my opinion sort of and my version of the band that I love very much shifted. And I might explain more of that at the end, but this is going to be a really good one. I think this is probably the most famous band. I don't know. I did Pink Floyd. That's obviously my favorite band. I did them first, and then I did Van Halen, and now this. So I don't know. I've got another one coming up very soon. I'm going to shoot also. That's another band that's, I would say, pretty much at this level. So, 9 albums to rank. I did want to throw something out here really quick first. As most of you know, Led Zeppelin's first 4 studio albums were called Led Zeppelin 1, Led Zeppelin 2, Led Zeppelin 3, Led Zeppelin 4. In the interest of making things easy, I'm simply just going to refer to them by the numbers. So for example, this is 1, 2, 3, and 4. I just wanted to do that because saying Led Zeppelin over and over and over and over and over again is going to be hard. So if you hear me say 3, 4, 1, 2, we're just going to do it that way. So we're going to start at number 9, of course, with my least favorite Led Zeppelin album. Again, these are my opinions, and I should preface it again, just like the Pink Floyd one. Pretty much aside from maybe 10 other bands in the world, if any other band had released any of these, they would have been far and away considered their best album. So I want you to keep that in perspective, that that's the magnitude of Led Zeppelin that we're talking about, that they are so good that even their bad albums are probably better than most other bands' discographies, period. So just remember that. But anyways, at number 9, we have In Through the Outdoor, the last album, so to speak, before John Bonham died. I'm going to talk a lot more about this album when we get to Presence. To simply put it, what a sad, sad, sad way to basically be the end of their discography. It's a massive letdown and disappointment, and in my opinion, a complete fail. I'm going to talk about this more when I get to Presence. The only song on this album that's kind of cool to me is Carousel Alhambra, and that's really stretching it. It's kind of okay. Everything else goes from irritating to just crap, in my opinion. So I'm going to talk about it more when I get to Presence, because I have a lot more to say about this one. But easy pick, far and away, by far, for sure, my least favorite is In Through the Outdoor. All right, at number 8, and this is where everyone dislikes, we have 4, or Untitled. This is actually a really good album. The reason I have it so low is because, with the exception of, I would say, 4 Sticks and maybe When the Levee Breaks on a Good Day, the rest of these songs to me are not peak Led Zeppelin. Led Zeppelin is so good that to me, a song like Black Dog or Misty Mountain Hop is a good example, or Going to California is a good example. They are so good that when they write songs like that, to me, it's like, really? Black Dog is your full potential? Such a good song, and this whole album is actually a really good album. It would be the best album by a lot of other bands. It's their best-selling album, go figure. But to me, this does not show Led Zeppelin's full potential. If I'm going to listen to Led Zeppelin, I want the full experience, not 75% of the experience. Now, yeah, I know Stairway to Heaven is on there. Personally, I don't understand the hype of that song. It's a great song, but it's not their best song, I don't think, at all, and I don't think this is their best album. 4 Sticks is a great song, but all of the other songs on this album, to me, are just like, okay, that's not Led Zeppelin's best, but, you know, it's fine. Aside from the Battle of Evermore, which I just don't like, all the other songs I'm just like, really? Like Rock and Roll. Great song, a little more toned down, and I think a little more radio friendly. That's the other thing with this album, is I think it's a bit more radio friendly than some of the stuff before it. But it's fine. It's just not, it's meant to appeal to the masses, I think. I don't think it was meant to appeal to the core hard Led Zeppelin fans, to me. So, number 8, we have 4. At number 7, I debated on whether to even include this one, because I don't know if people count it, but we have Coda, which was released in 1982 after John Bonham's death. And essentially, it's a mixture. It's not a mixture. It's basically a few songs that were recorded but then not used. So, like, there's a song that was recorded in 69. There's a couple songs that were recorded in 1970, 1972. The only song on here that wasn't new, so to speak, was they did I Can't Quit You Baby from Led Zeppelin 1, but it was a live recording at Royal Albert Hall during a sound check. All the other songs are new, so to speak, even though they're not. The funny thing about this album is that side 1 to me is actually really good. We're Gonna Groove, Poor Tom, I Can't Quit You, obviously, and then Walter's Walk. All are actually, I quite like them. The funny thing, side 2 to me sucks, honestly. Now, it doesn't suck. That's an overstatement. Ozone Baby and Wearing and Tearing are actually, I think, pretty good. The funny thing is both of them were recorded in 1978, which means they totally could have appeared on In Through the Outdoor. And if they had put those 2 songs on In Through the Outdoor instead of, oh God, let's just say Hot Dog and Southbound Sorez, if we say it right. I hate those 2 songs. If they had just swapped Ozone Baby and Wearing and Tearing for those 2, I would have probably already put In Through the Outdoor higher. Why didn't they? Like, Ozone Baby and Wearing and Tearing are actually pretty good songs, and they just didn't put them on. I don't get it, but that's part of why I have Coda not higher, is because... And then we have Darlene, which is exactly the kind of song that makes me hate In Through the Outdoor. Recorded in 78 also, so... I could have put it higher, and when I was going through and listening to these again, side 1 made me want to put it higher, side 2 made me want to put it lower, so I had to kind of balance it in the middle. Interesting album. I totally recommend giving it a listen. It's got quite a few cool, unreleased songs from all the way from 69 up to the In Through the Outdoor recordings. At number, what is this? 6. This is probably going to surprise some people as well. We have 2. 2 and 4 to me are very similar albums, and I very much feel that 4 is just a continuation of 2. However, I think 2 is the superior album. Similar songs, I think, kind of, but 2 is a better album. 2 is actually a really good collection of songs. In fact, Thank You, which is one of my favorite Led Zeppelin songs, is on this. Lemon Song is great. What Is and What Should Never Be is awesome. Of course, Whole Lotta Love. Ramble On is on here. The Bring It On Home cover is badass. Really solid collection of songs, but again, the reason I don't have this higher is because Led Zeppelin is so good that they made better stuff than this, even though this is so good. And for their second album especially, holy crap, it's amazing. Came out 8-9 months after their first one. Amazing record, but again, not as bad as 4, but I get the sense I'm like, these are good, but we're I'm a little they could have done better than that. A really good example to me actually is the Lemon Song, because it's a really, really, really good song, but it's not their best. That's how good Led Zeppelin was, is that Lemon Song is not, in my opinion, considered their best. What I do like about this album is you do still get some of the sort of style from 1, which is the blues. Like What Is and What Should Never Be is a good example. So, number 6, great album. I can't put it higher because we're talking about Zeppelin. We have 2. At number 5, which I think is going to shock some people that I put this higher than 2, we have Presence. I don't know, I think this is a pretty controversial one. This album is very, very different from anything Zeppelin had put out at the time, and it takes a lot more of a radio-friendly approach. In fact, I would argue that you could probably play this for someone and they wouldn't guess it's Led Zeppelin. I heard elements of everything from Boston to Rush to Yes when I was listening to this album. I'm not kidding. Especially Achilles' Last Stand. That's an awesome song. And all of the songs on this are really, really, really good. I really do like them. But I'm also going into this knowing, okay, this is not Led Zeppelin 2 we're listening to, or, Houses of the Holy, or any of those. This is a different style, a different sound, and that's why I like it so much. If you go into this expecting Houses of the Holy or, 2 or 4, you're going to hate it. It doesn't sound like those albums. In fact, it hardly sounds like Led Zeppelin at all. I think it's really good, though. And going in with that expectation, I don't know if I would call it an evolution of their sound, especially since this followed up Physical Graffiti, but it's good. It's good nonetheless, and I didn't put it lower because of that, because really every song on this, especially like T for One, that's an awesome one. They're pretty awesome. So, number 5, Presence. All right, so I just remembered I was going to talk more about In Through the Outdoor when I did Presence. Presence takes a radio-friendly approach. It's a very radio-friendly sound, which is something a lot of people won't like. To me, In Through the Outdoor is like radio-friendly but horrible. Like, it takes the radio... to me, it sounds like a really bad cover band trying to cover Led Zeppelin. Especially songs like Fool in the Rain, to be honest with you. Okay song, really, really, really boring when you put it next to anything else and not deep at all. The whistle section in the middle with the, the drums is kind of cool, but why did they take everything that they had done up to that point from 1968, 69, whenever they formed, all the way to 1978? They took all of that ungodly goodness and they flushed it down the toilet for In Through the Outdoor. That's what I think, because in my opinion, I equate Presence in with those in how good it was. It was just very different. It's like Led Zeppelin 3, very different sound. Why they took all of that and said, we're done with it, we don't need that, we'll just put this cob job piece of junk, horrible, radio-friendly sounding album out. And it went to number 1, which makes total sense because it's a bunch of radio-friendly, just blah, blah, blah music is basically how I would describe it. I'm going to get dislikes for this, and I'm going to get dislikes for putting 2 and 4 as low as I did. But I think it is a very, very sad and depressing ending to Led Zeppelin. I know it's not the end because Coda, but for, in John Bonham's life, the fact that that was the last album that they puked out on the market is very sad and extremely disappointing when, like I said, you see everything they did. They worked for everything from 1 to 3 to Physical Graffiti, even to Presence, and got rid of it for that junk. I mean, I can literally go through it here and tell you, In the Evening is, admittedly, with In the Evening, it sounds like a Presence reject. Like, it sounds like they could have written it for Presence, but decided it wasn't good enough. Southbound Suarez is terrible, in my opinion. Fool in the Rain is like the poorest Zeppelin-sounding Zeppelin song you can get. Hot Dog just flat out sucks. Carousel Ombre, like I said, is like the closest you can get to okay. All My Love sounds, again, like a cover band trying to make Led Zeppelin, and then I'm Gonna Crawl is whatever. It does nothing for me. It's all radio-friendly, though. They took everything they had and they said, nope, we're done, we're doing this. Really sad, in my opinion. And that's why I said I was going to talk about it more with Presence, because I had to talk about the radio-friendliness of Presence. And they did that so well with Presence, and then they took In Through the Outdoor and said, nope, forget everything we did on Presence, we're going to do this junk instead. I don't know why. Maybe people like it. I mean, I don't really understand why, because it's not a Led Zeppelin album. It's a radio-friendly generic album that Boston or Rush or Yes or even literally insert any band that was popular on the radio in 1979, it could have come from them. That's just how I feel. Dislike, hate me, whatever. All right, we're in the top 4 or 5 now. And number 4, we have 3. Led Zeppelin's entry in the folk segment. Biggest news on this one is that it is a complete departure from Led Zeppelin 1 and 2 in that it is very acoustical and folk-based. It's very much just Page and Plant, jamming, which is good. I mean, it's a really, really good album, and I really love the Led Zeppelin goes folk approach. Of course, Immigrant Song is on this, which is funny because you lead the album with Immigrant Song, and then every song after it is nothing like that. So if you don't like acoustical folk, sort of fun, funny, whimsical folk music, you probably won't like this, and I can very much see why it was controversial, and then they followed this up with 4. It makes a lot of sense. I think if Led Zeppelin had stayed in this approach, they probably would have dropped off a lot quicker than they did. Great album, though, nonetheless, and I really, really love it. Top 3 albums here. And at number 3, keep in mind, all of these could be number 1. I think it just depends on how you're feeling. Number 3, we have 1, the debut. What an amazing album, and out of the 4 number albums, this is by far my favorite. The original, just pure, unadulterated blues. That's what this album is, and aside from Communication Breakdown, which is interesting, every single song on this album I love, love, love. Personally, I think this is how they just should have stayed, but I can see why they evolved, and certainly there's a lot of evolving that they've done, but this is my favorite sound of Led Zeppelin, was just this pure, raw blues. That's why it's so high. And a freaking debut album at that, I don't know what else to say. It's that awesome to me. And I think it's a shame that, in my opinion, they only had 2 albums that actually topped this, which you'll see, because this is so good. But number 3, Led Zeppelin 1, phenomenal album. I would probably listen to this multiple times a day if I had time, because it's so freaking good. Probably one of my favorite albums of all time, if I had to be honest. It's that good to me. So, 1 at number 3. All right, number 2. This one and number 1 I really had to fight for to see which one would be the top, but we have number 2, Houses of the Holy, which apparently is kind of a controversial one. Apparently there's a lot of people that don't like this album. To me, this album is perfect. It's not the same sound as Led Zeppelin 1, but it's pretty freaking close in terms of how good it is. This album combines a little bit of blues, a little bit of rock and roll, a little bit of funk, a little bit of experimental, a little tiny bit of electronic, and a little bit of Pink Floyd. No quarter. And you get bliss. Literal bliss. And I know, The Crunge and Jamaica are not the best Led Zeppelin songs, but this album is so good, and I had a very hard time picking this, or obviously you saw Physical Graffiti for number 1. This album, I think, gives you the most bang for your buck. If you only have time to listen to one Led Zeppelin album and you want elements of all of their albums pretty much combined, aside from the later ones like Presence and whatever, gotta go Houses of the Holy. So amazing, awesome, I love it. I don't think there's a single song on here I don't love, even The Crunge or whatever. Awesome album, number 2. And of course at number 1, we have Physical Graffiti. Excuse how it looks because I have it, out the thing. This album, to me, I saw a comment on YouTube about this album that I'm going to butcher and paraphrase. Physical Graffiti is like the candy store of rock and roll albums, because you can go in it and everywhere you look there's tasty, delicious, yummy goodness that tastes, everything is different from each other. I think that sums this album up perfectly, because what it is it's not mostly, it's about half, stuff, new stuff, because this is a double, remember. But also, they took a couple of sort of outtakes from Houses of the Holy 4 and 1 from 3, Bronnier, and they put them on here. And first off, every single song that's new on here is an absolute freaking masterpiece, and I agree. I think it was Robert Plant had said this he felt was their creative peak. 100% agree. That's why I have Houses of the Holy just under this. Same era, pretty much. These followed each other, which is amazing. Ironically, if you look on Wikipedia, it tells you which songs were written for this album and which ones weren't, and I have the other one facing out. The ironic thing is that the only songs on this album that I don't absolutely love are Down by the Seaside and Night Flight, which are both outtakes from 4. Which is just hilarious to me that the 2 songs on this album, this would be perfect if it wasn't, honestly, if they had left those 2 songs off. They sound a little too much like 4 for my liking. They're not really deep. They're kind of just bubbly songs. Down by the Seaside especially is like, okay. What's funny is that Boogie with Stu was also an outtake from 4, and I love it. Personally, I think it sounds like something that should have been on Houses of the Holy. I think it would have fit well there. I don't know why they didn't put it on 4, because if they had put it on 4, it would have been freaking badass, and they left it off and then put it on this, but that makes this even better. But no, Boogie with Stu is actually really cool, and it's cool that they put it on this instead. And of course, Cashmere, Custard Pie, In My Time of Dying, Sick Again is a really good one. They're all amazing songs. Trampled Underfoot. This, like I said, to me, I agree with Robert Plant. I think he said this was their creative peak, and it's freaking amazing, and it is a really good album to sit down on a Saturday afternoon like I did a little bit ago and just listen. It is so, so good, and the variety is amazing, too. I love the variety. Even the couple Led Zeppelin 4 songs, you know, they're just kind of, you know, fine. We'll get through them. We'll listen to some other good ones after these. I don't care. This takes my number one. And if I had time to listen to one Led Zeppelin album and if I had time to listen to a Led Zeppelin album and it wasn't going to be Houses of the Holy and I had time for a double, 100% Physical Graffiti. So that's it. That is all 9 Led Zeppelin albums ranked worst to best. I'm sure I'm going to get flamed for this. I'm sure that there are people who are going to say, you know, some bad things about me because I said In Through the Outdoor is not a masterpiece. I don't understand it. Please enlighten me in the comments how... I'm not going to lie. I went through and listened to that album again, and I almost made me want to turn it off. There's very few albums that have done that for me. I was straight up bored, and I was like, are we done yet? Are we done yet? This is doing nothing for me, and it's a shame that Led Zeppelin put their name on this. Truthfully, I honestly feel that way. But I'm going to be done being negative. We can talk about the 3 top albums. So, that is it. Thank you all for watching. If there's any other bands you want me to do below that are this kind of music, let me know. I have another one coming up that I think a lot of people are going to enjoy. But let me know, and I will see if I can't do some more of these. Let me know what you think in the comments. As always, thank you all for watching. Like, subscribe. Check out Isaac24.com and go listen to Physical Graffiti and Houses of the Holy. Those were back-to-back releases. Other way around, but they were back-to-back releases. How amazing is that? That's it. Have a great one. Peace.